Hello, my friends on YouTube. It is Lynn and Linsig, and I'm coming in for an update. It's been a few minutes since I've done one, and I wanted to actually have something to update to you all because usually I ramble more than I make sense. So anyway, yeah, I'm coming in for my 6-week post-op duodenal switch operation. And this is my revision surgery that I had from my initial VSG on May 1st, 2012. Lost highest weight ever 310. When I got on the surgery table 2012 of last year, I was 264. For the year, I lost about 55 to 60 pounds. I got down to 207. And then I started gaining weight and started binging and had no restriction. And one day I just fell off the wagon, like, binge eaters do a lot of times. And I had a pretty hard fall, and I gained 22 pounds. During that time, I was planning a revision surgery with Dr. A, because I realized that the gastric sleeve that I had in my belly was not for some reason working for me. So Miss Jamie did an excellent video the other day. If you haven't watched it, especially for those of you that have been battling from the very beginning, if you've had a gastric surgery, or if you're thinking about having gastric surgery, I would recommend you going to watch that video because she was right on. She was on the money. I wish that I would have done more research before I went and had the surgery, because you really do need to find out what surgery is right for you. And, there's so many factors that I understand now that you really, kind of like, I guess, having a baby, you cannot plan, especially for a first-time mom, which, I don't have children, so I'm just speaking from maybe getting married or whatever, anything you did for the first time, but I guess it's kind of like having a child. You can't, it's kind of like an instinct. You can't plan everything. You can't plan what's going to happen, and that's in a job or anything you do. But you have to look back on your life, and you have to look at yourself, and there's so many moving pieces to having the gastric surgery. I would highly recommend doing your research, and not only doing your research, but finding the proper doctor to do your surgery. And, I think that the gastric surgery should go along with your personality. I'm a very radical person. I'm a person that likes to, I don't like to do a lot of talking. I like to do a lot of walking, which is sometimes good and sometimes it's not, because it doesn't always work out the way we want it. Even with people that take action, patience is a virtue, so that's something that I definitely have to work on. But I'm a very radical person. I believe in, for myself, I'm kind of like an all or nothing, which I'm working on that, because that's not really healthy. I'm working on balance. But anyway, to make a long story short, for me, I think that what I should have done the first time, as I should have done more research. A lot of your doctors today that I find, or your gastric bariatric doctors, they like the sleeve because, it's less, it's kind of like in the middle there, it's the middle range of, having the gastric surgery. It's a little bit more invasive than having the band, but not as invasive as bypass or a D-switch. So, they don't have to reroute anything. But it is definitely a gastric surgery, and you definitely have a restriction. So anyway, a lot of your doctors today that I find, they are push and I'm not saying all doctors, but where I had my surgery, they pushed in the seminar, they pushed the gastric sleeve, the BSG, because they just find it's kind of like they kind of explain it like they're right there in the middle. So for one, my mistake for me is I had no experience. I mean, you cannot plan for gastric surgery. I didn't talk to enough people that had the surgery. I'm such a private person. So I should have done more talking to people that, I should have got on YouTube and been more open, talking to people with experience. I should have done more research on the surgery. I should have thought longer and harder about what surgery is right for me. And I should have found a doctor that's pretty radical. When I say radical, if I would have done my proper research, I would have went to Mexico with Dr. Activez to have my sleeve because, and I'm not saying he's the only one because I know there's many great doctors and I don't know them all. But in Mexico, if you're going to be a self-pay, this is basically for self-pay. If you're going to be a self-pay, if you can't get approved for the insurance, I would, if I was going for the first time, I would go to Dr. Alvarez, because he does a 32-inch bogey, which is pretty radical from what I can understand for the sleeve, and I've seen the results. He's done over 5,000 surgeries, over 5K, $5,000. Hey, that's a lot. So he knows how to do the sleeve. And, of course, Dr. A does, too, in Mexicali. He's more conservative. But, if you're a little bit more conservative, I would highly recommend, if you're self-pay, Dr. A, to do any of your surgery. That's who did my D-switch. He is not vetted in the D-switch yet, but he has been trained by a vet, which is Dr. Ungson. And Dr. A has done many, many revisions, so that's why I went with him. And I heard so many great things about him. And when he talked to us in our consult, he said, I am pretty conservative. He kind of goes right there in the middle, which for the D-switch I was okay with because it's such an invasive surgery, and the long term, and he goes a lot by your metabolic weight, your age, that sort of thing, etc. So anyway, for the newbies out there, for people that's considering it, please do your homework, do your research. If you want to get it right the first time, then I would tell you to be true to yourself. Get the proper information, have a little patience. Don't jump at the first doctor. If your insurance will pay for it, make sure that you go talk to the doctor and find out information like, what size of bogey do you use? If you're having a D-switch, what's the elementary limb channel, the common channel? I'm not real schooled on bypass, so I can't really tell you what questions to ask for bypass, and I can't tell you really what questions to ask for lab band, but there's plenty of people on Facebook that could give you some excellent guidance, and I would definitely take those resources, find out what's right for you. If you do what I did and you have a surgery that you don't mean that it's working for you, and Miss Janie talks about this, be true to yourself, because having a second surgery is no, a lot of times revisions are a lot more serious and complex ability, whatever. It's very much more complex, and you want to make sure you're doing the right thing, and you want to know all of the risks that's involved, and you want to make sure that that's what you want. But hey, we have, I'm a firm believer that, a lot of there is an obesity gene. You know, and they have come up with there is an obesity gene, and I believe in different body types. I believe that we're all built different, and I believe some people were born with an obesity gene. I'm not saying, and I was born with just a very a high appetite for food. I mean, anyway, do all your homework, guys, and make sure that you're true to yourself. I went back for the D-switch because of my history with obesity. When I told my primary care physician, she almost freaked, and she didn't even know what the D-switch was. And I told her, I said, I weighed my options. Just remember, if you go down to Mexico or down to a foreign country, that when you get back, you're going to come into contact with some physicians in the United States because of the insurance reasons, because of all these malpractice suits and the different laws and regulations in the U.S. You're going to come in contact with some physicians that may not want to treat you. And I'm telling you that up front because, I've already faced it just in the last 6 weeks since I've been home. My doctor freaked out. She was like, "Who's going to touch you now?" And I chose not to have the conversation with my primary care physician because her and my doctor that did my initial surgery is very close. I'm not recommending that you do that. I would recommend that you don't do that. I would recommend that you have somebody lined up if you're going out of the country to do your surgery, where you don't have somebody local to be your bariatric doctor for your aftercare. I would highly recommend that you having a conversation with your primary care physician and, you just be firm. Now, this is what I'm going to do, but you may want to try to make sure that you have somebody that's going to care for you, which I haven't found that yet. My primary care physician is going to care for me, but, I haven't found a bariatric surgeon yet because there's not many people in Louisiana that do the D-switch. Anyway, people, but I weighed 199 for about 5 seconds, and now I'm back up in the twos, so I'm sick of the twos. One day I'm going to come on, and I'm not going to be there, hopefully, no more, but I'm trying to learn how to eat. I'm just now getting to eat. I've been on little soft foods. It's getting really dark. Sorry about that. I got a truck passing me. So, but anyway, I'm trying to learn to eat, and I'm trying to lose weight. I'm enjoying a little bit of restriction that I actually have now. I actually understand what it's like to have a sleep like everyone else. It is a totally different. I don't know how long it'll last. Some days today I could eat more. But anyway, everything's going okay. I'm trying to learn to do my protein. Trying to get my vitamins in. And there's so many different things about the D-switch, and I'll be talking about some of it. I'm just hoping I can get the goal finally. This is my dream to one day have this under control. And it's a daily fight, people. I don't think, my counselor asked me the other day, she said, do you think you're cured of binge eating? And I said, I cannot say that yet. And I said, will I ever be cured? And she said, well, that's the goal. And I hope that happens one day. With my experience, I'm going to stay humble and have a lot of humility about this because I'm 40, almost 41, and since the age of 9, I can tell you a lot about what it's like to plateau, to roller coaster, to lose, to gain, to stall, to diet, to starve, to purge, to eat. to have moments of freedom and being able to breathe without the bonds and the chains of binge eating. I've been there, and hopefully I can help somebody one day, because I really feel in my spirit, my heart of hearts, that it is an inward struggle, and the fear that we have that goes along with being obese. Anyway, I want people to know I understand, and that you cannot, you just have to keep on, and we can't quit, we can't stop. This is a fight, and it is, if one day I'm healed, and which I know that can happen, I'm gonna be so greatly thankful. But until that day, I'm just gonna keep on continuing. It's getting kind of dark. I'm gonna bail out now at 16 minutes. So probably pure boredom for you guys. But I love you all. Thanks for listening. I'll be on to update hopefully soon. I'll maybe be down to 190s eventually. I hope. I pray. That's my goal, and I'm gonna keep on trying. Okay. Love you guys. Have fun in Vegas, and let me see some videos.